Blue Rock Estate consists of 40 planted acres, and on the 40 acres we have about 60% Cabernet Sauvignon, of which there are 7 different clones, including heritage clones of Cabernet that were rescued from famous vineyards. We also grow Cabernet Franc, we grow Malbec, Petit Verdot, a small amount, and also Merlot. In addition to that, because I love it, we have about 2.5 acres of extreme hillside Syrah. So our wine portfolio consists of 4 wines. Our flagship wine is Blue Rock Cabernet Sauvignon. Today we're going to taste the 2005 vintage. Originally it was 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, but in 2005 we blended in 5% Estate Malbec. We also make a second wine called Baby Blue. Now, Baby Blue was first made in 2006, and we created Baby Blue for 2 reasons. One is that it gives us a chance to make a better Blue Rock every year by having a place for the grapes from the young vines to go and to make a separate wine. But our philosophy behind Baby Blue was to make an accessibly priced wine that was also accessible in terms of its flavor and aromatics, but something that would just really blow you away for its seriousness at the price point.
Some people can say, you know, we're just going to make a second wine and hopefully that'll cover the costs on doing that. But Kenny was really committed to making Baby Blue as a great wine in itself. And so we set out to make a blend that was going to be true to the Blue Rock vineyard, true to the Alexandra Valley. And in that wine, we have a wine that's a little bit more approachable, perhaps can be sold a little bit younger. So stylistically, Blue Rock is more powerful and rich with heavier tannins, longer lasting. Where Baby Blue is going to be something that you can walk into a restaurant, have by the glass, sweeter, more upfront, elegant, jammy, real drinkable wine early on in its life. And you've got to be able to reach out to both types of customers and be able to satisfy that need. And I think Baby Blue is a great step forward into that arena.
We also make a very small amount, about 200 cases a year, of really exceptional Syrah. Now, this comes from the vineyard behind the winery and house. It's the highest part of the property. It's an extreme hillside that is so extreme that until this year we didn't have any tractor access until we bought a special tractor that could handle that kind of terrain. And we're going to taste the 2005 vintage today. Then, in really special years, we make a very small amount of a wine called Best Barrel. And Best Barrel is just what it sounds like. If there's something that is really unique, special, and better than anything else, then we'll bottle it separately. And typically, it's 1 or 2 barrels. The first Best Barrel that we made in 2003 happened to be Malbec. Before bottling the 2003 vintage, Nick Goldschmidt and I went through every barrel and tasted to see what was good enough to make the Blue Rock blend. And when we did that, we discovered this outrageously delicious and special barrel of wine, and it happened to be Malbec. So we did bottle it separately. We made 24 cases. We didn't make a Best Barrel in 2004, and then in 2005, we made a Best Barrel Cabernet Sauvignon. It's from the oldest vines on the estate, 25 years old. It's 100% new French oak, and it is our absolute best wine that we've ever made. So let's taste. So I always decant our wines, and I find that if you decant them several hours before drinking them, that they improve dramatically. The aromas open up, the flavors are better, they just become a much better, more sophisticated wine. I also use a really good glass because it makes a big difference. The first vintage that we made was 1999. I had a bottle the other night, and it has really developed into the most beautiful wine. So as far as the drinking window for these wines, they are certainly best if you wait at least 4 years from the vintage, and then 4 to like 10 years, they are really developing complexity. They're getting much more in the way of aromatics, more depth of flavor, certainly a softer texture as the tannins sort of melt away and become more integrated into the wine. We know that they will hold much longer than 10 years, but we think the optimum drinking time is 4 years to 10 years from the vintage. One of the really wonderful things about wine is how intriguing it is because it changes over time. It changes over time over the years. So if you buy a case of Blue Rock and you try a bottle immediately and you take notes on it, and then you come back and have another bottle the next year or 2 years later and you take a note on it, you're going to see that yes, it's the same wine, but it is changing. Now, stylistically, what we try to do with our wines, and I describe our wines as very feminine. And by that I mean the kind of wine that I like and that we're producing here, something that's very, very aromatic. And in Blue Rock, I get tremendous amount of perfume. I'm getting blueberry notes, mint, I get black currant. At times, even people describe it as having a little rose petal. I mean, it's really very exotic and very perfumey. And that really is a result of the serpentine soils. And then flavor-wise, I'm looking for something that has layers and layers of complexity. So there's always something more to go back to. So as you're drinking the bottle, you have the first initial impression, then maybe you have some food, you come back and there's a little bit more. And then as the evening goes on and as you have your dinner, there's always another nuance or two that you can get both in the aromas and the flavors of the wine. So stylistically, I think of them as very feminine. And you can't have everything. So that is at the expense of what I would describe as masculinity. So many wines today are big and jammy and high alcohol. And that's not what we're shooting for. What we are shooting for is Armani in the bottle. And you know, it's one thing to talk a good game, but the great thing about the wine business is that it's either in the bottle or it isn't. So you can taste it and you be the judge.